What's up, everybody? We're back. It's your boy Steven Motivate, and we are going through our 52 Turo tips series. Turo is a car sharing platform where you can generate an additional stream of income. Many people are curious about this platform and curious about whether this is passive or active. I've been doing it now for 2 years. And I can tell you that there's a lot of things that go into running a successful Turo business. And here are tips 4 and 5 that will break down to you just some things that will help you in your Turo business. Let's get into it. The time is finally here, folks. Academy.stevenmotivate.com. If you want to learn more about how I generated 6 figures in 6 months while using car sharing, head over to academy.stevenmotivate.com. Use the discount code WealthyPod. Do yourself a favor. Learn how to do car sharing the right way. Learn how to make it profitable, tax advantages, how to create another stream of income for yourself. All right, do yourself a favor. I'll see you there. Tip number 4, wash your shared vehicles immediately after sharing them. So typically in the Turo business, you're going to get people that want to share your car, and you can control what times you want them to share, whether you want them to share it early in the morning or late at night, whether you want to take trips between 9 and 5, and a bit of a reference on when those trips end. However, the difficult thing is that sometimes you get requests that are outside of those parameters, or you don't know what parameters you want to set because you're new to the business. So in doing that, you want to be aware of the fact that people are going to rent your car and they're going to want to bring it back when it's convenient for them. And because of that, many times there's not a good opportunity to actually know when the next renter, when the next person in the car sharing community is going to request your car, and the time you have in between to get that car prepped and ready to go again. So where a lot of the work comes in on car sharing is really keeping the car refreshed, cleaned up, looking nice, looking presentable, making sure that when your next guest arrives, that it actually is in a manner that represents you, represents your business, represents you as a host, and actually is something you're going to be proud of and that your guest is going to be happy with, to help leave you a 5-star review. Reviews are important because it does play into the ranking of you on the Turo platform and how high you rank or how low you might rank on the platform. So it's very important that you know the sequence of things, right? One of my mentors talks about the order matters, sequence matters, right? You don't want to put a cake in the oven before you've mixed up all the ingredients. You could have all the ingredients, right? Everything you need to make that cake taste wonderful. But if you leave out the sugar or the icing, or if you put the icing in at the wrong time while the cake is cooking, it might turn into a big sloppy mess. And so the sequence of things matters. And this tip number 4 around Turo and how to maximize and optimize your Turo business, you're going to want to prep and wash your cars immediately when they come back. So when a trip ends, you're going to want to go check out that car, make sure no damage has been done to it, make sure that it's brought back to you in the same way it was you gave it out, which that's going to create work in and of itself. But in the off chance, which sometimes is the case, that folks actually bring your car back exactly as you presented it to them, it's still going to require some cleaning and touching up, especially because again, you've got new guests coming in, and Turo's policy is that you would do that. So what you want to consider is that making sure that your vehicle process, your sequence of how you handle when the vehicle comes back, and how you get out there and clean it again, making sure you have a good process for that. Because what you don't want to happen is you don't want to get trips coming in that you're not prepared to accept, because you haven't essentially had a chance to clean or make ready your vehicle again. And so this is again just a tip around how to sequence things. And I found that in our business, and I have help. I have folks who help me actually execute this. But when I was on my own, there'd be times, especially with all the vehicles that I had, I'd be like, well, that vehicle just came back. I'll do that later, or I'll wait till more come back, trying to figure out the most efficient time to actually clean a car. But the time to prepare a vehicle for the next trip is at the end of its most recent trip. So that's the key tip, is make sure you prepare that vehicle as soon as you can. And typically that's right as you're checking it back in. Get it cleaned back up, gas back up, make sure everything's operating and functioning correctly. All the mirrors work, make sure buttons haven't been broke or damaged, make sure visors and that sort of thing work, make sure there aren't pieces missing, caps and covers. You'll be surprised at what people can do to a vehicle. And so if you reference back to the last video where I gave the third tip, this is why, again, it's important to have a vehicle that isn't so costly to maintain, especially if you're doing it all yourself, because people can damage your vehicle. And when that car returns from its trip is the perfect time to check for those things and submit them if there is damage, because that's a whole process in and of itself. But if there isn't, you want to make sure that you're getting that car cleaned up and ready to go for its next trip. If there's any questions on that, if you got any comments, feedback, questions, just put them down below in the chat function, and I'll look at them, answer them, give you as much help and assistance as I can as it relates to the sequence of things. When you do things, it's very important. Obviously, if you've got a full staff, and you've got an actual location where you can clean things, it makes it a lot easier to actually add that as a part of the agenda of things to do, and make sure it gets done rapidly. But if you don't have those things and you've got to run around, or you're working a second job, it's very important to make sure that you understand the sequence. And then the part I mentioned earlier about your time, making sure that the availability of your time and the time in between guests. So you might go into the Turo functionality, which I'll talk about at another time, and say, hey, I want 5 hours in between trips, or I want 12 hours in between trips. That way you know that your car will not show as available from the end of a trip for 12 hours, to give yourself more time to clean it back up and make sure it's ready to go. Because during this busy season, you will get back-to-back trips, and it will cause panic, frantic. You'll find yourself disheveled, disorganized, stressed out when you're not controlling for that piece of it. You've got to learn the sequence of how you're going to manage your business, if you're going to manage it profitably, efficiently, and with a level of peace of mind, a level of order, a level where you're not as stressed out or deflated because you're getting so much business in that it's actually wearing you down personally. So you've got to be very careful of understanding, okay, what is the sequence of things? And so that's one tip, is make sure you wash cars immediately after every trip and have them prepped and ready for the next trip. So tip number 5, you need to market your business as if Turo doesn't exist. I'm gonna say it again. Tip number 5, you need to market your business as if Turo does not exist. So many people think of Turo as this passive income stream. I'm going to get these cars, I'm going to put them up on this platform. Turo's going to bring me all the business, and I basically can kick my feet up and not worry about a thing. And in some markets that might be true. In some markets that might be partially true. And in some markets it might be not true at all. But if you really want to run a car sharing business, you're going to have to consider really developing a rental car model, your own private rental car business, and you need to market your business as such, as if Turo doesn't exist. Because what you'll find is that there are going to be people in your area that need cars, strangers, folks you don't know that need cars, and they just don't know that you exist. And what Turo has shown is that people are willing to get cars from folks they don't know if they know about them. If that makes sense, right? Turo, people learn about Turo, and so they find out about these other strangers who have vehicles that they can borrow and use. They're willing to do that because it's another option for them. Marketing yourself in such a way where people become aware of what you have to offer is key to running a profitable, successful enterprise as it relates to car sharing. If you're just resting on Turo as your means of marketing, then you're not going to do well. I'm sorry to tell you. In most markets, you're not going to do well, especially when the season is slow. You need to spend time talking to mechanic shops, talking to dealerships, talking to leaders in the community, businesses, hotels, other hospitality type groups, travel agents, planners, wedding planners, different groups where you can market yourself and let people know, hey, I exist, my business exists, and I'm here to serve folks who may have a need for a vehicle or transportation, and I'm here to do that. I'm here to serve. And so I'm talking about, old school marketing and new school marketing. Old school, get business cards, have flyers, spend some time, going door to door, going to parking lots, going to offices and sharing that information, going where people go, malls, barber shops, letting people know about what you offer. And then new age marketing, making sure you have a page on maybe Yelp or Google or Facebook, a website where you can maybe do Google ads or Facebook ads or Instagram ads telling people about your business. This is critical because you cannot rest just on what Turo brings to you. If you really want to create a business, you have to do just that, create a business. And so because you're going to be marketing some of this stuff yourself, it does create other needs. You got to have good bookkeeping. You got to understand insurance. You got to be able to protect your assets, and you got to know how to verify people. You got to have the right rental car sharing type of contracts in place. You got to make sure that people don't run off with your car and steal it. So there's a lot of other components that you've got to put in place. But the fifth tip I'd give you is that you have to market your business as if Turo doesn't exist. Look, I hope this is helpful for you. We're going to continue with these tips. I'm going to have them on my channel. So if you like this information, please subscribe, comment. If you've got questions, let me know. We want to help you because we consider car sharing another money maneuver. And we think with the right mindset and the right money maneuvers, folks can go to levels of wealth, wisdom, and new ways of working that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to participate in. All right, until next time, this is your boy Steven Motivate. Stay motivated. Peace.